Hey guys, welcome back to the analysis video setup. Today we have Vonnare or Erannov on the GSF forums, and he's going to be playing a little bit of Starguard or Type 1 Strike, and then he'll be switching to some Quarrel later on in the match. He was actually doing commentary for himself while playing, and it's quite a bit louder than his game volume, so I'm actually going to have to just mute the video and we're going to have to watch it with no sound. So sorry about that ahead of time, but yeah. Alright, so real quick, he is running proton torpedoes, looks like heavy lasers, and quick charge shield and barrel roll on the strike. Later on the gunship, he's running barrel roll, distortion field, and slug railgun is what he's using the most. Alright, so let's just jump in. This is a Kuat Mesas Deathmatch, and yeah. So one thing I'm going to notice, and I'm going to point it out right now, Vonnare plays very, very timid. Like, way too much in my opinion. Um, there's such a thing, like, you can be careful when playing, but he's playing far too careful for how good I think he is. He should really be getting into the fray a little bit more and trying to do more damage to the enemy team, but you guys will see what I mean. Alright, so we're boosting in. Looking for a target. Alright, so let's stop right here. He uses quick charge shield here, and I'm not sure why. We're going to see this happen a bunch of times throughout the video. So when you use quick charge shield, it makes your shield max go up for 4 seconds and give you some extra regeneration and whatnot. But generally you want to use quick charge shield after you've taken some damage, because quick charge shield gives you 30% of your shields back and some regeneration so that you you're regenerating in combat essentially. Using it when you're out of combat, even if you're to use it right before, you're still not getting the maximum effectiveness out of it. You want to use it like after you've taken damage. So you can see it runs out and it's pretty much just a wasted cooldown. So now we're just looking for targets. Kind of following this bomber here. One thing I want to show here, and it's kind of hard to show with the sound off, so I'm gonna pause it when it starts here. So right here, someone starts locking a missile on him, right? And now he's looking straight at the enemy team. If he were to use barrel roll once this missile fires, he would barrel roll right into the enemy team. So when you're playing with barrel roll, you have to remember that as soon as someone starts locking a missile on you, you need to start thinking about where you're going to barrel roll. And we're going to see him duck to the left and look up here. And then once the missile fires, which is right now, he can immediately barrel roll it. And then he's not charging into the enemy team. So he kind of retreats here. Someone chases him. That's fine. One thing I wanted to talk about is, again, this is hard to show with no sound, but he's constantly stopping and starting boosting. So you saw it there. Again, he stops, starts boosting, stops, starts boosting. So he just keeps doing this. And this is going to run you out of engine power so quickly. There's a cost for maintaining engines per second, but there's also an initial cost. When you first press like the spacebar to start boosting, there's a cost of engines for that. So if you're spamming spacebar, your engines go down way faster than if you just held it. So if you're trying to get away from someone, the best thing you can do is just hold spacebar for a really long time and then stop and then wait for some engines to recharge and then do that again. So he finally gets away here. We also saw him use a quick charge shield again when he wasn't being attacked. So Alright, so no one's attacking him here. And there's the quick charge shield. So this just doesn't do anything because he hadn't taken any damage. So he's kind of hugging the walls. He's doing all these little micro bursts, and you can see his engines are just suffering for it. All these little boosts. He just barely had enough to barrel roll. The only thing that's letting him do this, by the way, is the fact that he has quick charge shield. Quick charge shield lets you regenerate faster while you're in recently consumed mode, so that's why. So he fires this proton, and then he regenerates some engines. We see the target retro, and he kind of follows him. Now, this is really good here because we know that this proton is going to land, because there's no way he has his retro back. Again, we just saw a quick charge shield be used. It just doesn't do anything. It's firing a proton. We got him to use his brake. Again, someone started lining up a missile on him. Let's just show that again real quick. So right here, someone starts locking a missile on him, so you immediately see him turn and set up a barrel roll. Now it's still not the greatest barrel roll, but it gets us out of trouble. Now, he barrel rolled away. We look at the minimap. The target isn't chasing us. He's still 10k away. We're good. We don't have to run away anymore. Like, we're out of danger. It's time to regenerate those engines. You just stop here and regenerate your engines back to full. But he runs pretty far back here. Like, he's still running. Maybe he wants this power up. That's what he was thinking. But, and again, we're doing microbursts. We need to not be boosting right now. We need to regenerate all the way back up to full. No boosting. And then he gets to half and he boosts just a little bit. This is the worst thing you can do for regenerating engines. You want to just not boost when regenerating engines. Every time you press the spacebar once, you restart your cycle for regenerating, because it takes 3 seconds until you're back up to full regeneration. Again, we used quick charge shield here when nothing had dealt damage to us. Now he sees this guy use his retro. This is the type of target you want to chase the proton. This target is at half health, doesn't have an engine maneuver. We want to go get this proton. Alright, so once you've launched this proton, you know it's going to land. You don't really have to keep firing lasers at him. It's kind of hard to train yourself to do that, so I don't mind that he's shooting lasers at the target, but he didn't have to. He could have just moved on. And then target dies. And then, so when that target dies, we have enough engine power. We don't need to stop and wait. Now's the time. Like, let's go find another target. But instead, we're kind of retreating for no reason. We're at full health. We have engine power. There's no reason to pull back here. If you're worried about going in there and just dying because there's so many targets, here's what I suggest you do. Go in there, right? And then do a quick 180 and run back to the team. Because what that's going to do is it's going to pull the enemy team out of there. If you go in and die, that's bad because they all stay clustered up behind their wall. But if you charge them, you go over the wall, right? They start shooting at you, and then you run back, and you never even shot anything at them. But if you run back, then maybe your team can make something happen off of that, because maybe they'll follow you. Especially with barrel roll, that's useful. So now we're looking for another target. Find a bomber here. This is great. That's a great laser kill. Again, though, we had plenty of engine power. We don't need to be running behind this pillar. We should have just pressed tab, found the next closest target, and started shooting at them. Locks a proton. The proton lands. We chase the target. We get some damage in. We got shot. So we got shot by a gunship. See, like, when he got shot by this railgun, that would have been the time to use Quick Charge Shield. Because now we've lost shields and we'll get a bunch back right away. The other thing I would suggest here is we got shot by a gunship. We're trying to retreat. You could use barrel roll for this to get yourself out of harm's way. So he's gonna run. He's gonna hydrospanner. Again, like, once we were out of line of sight of that gunship, I don't feel you needed to run this far back. But you're regenerating your engine power. That's good. As soon as you hit full engine power, you head back in. But you should be hitting tab, finding the next target, and heading towards. Like, you want to start attacking something. So this is good. It's a nice opportunistic kill here. The guy's kind of stuck on the wrong side of the pillar. So see, just like that. You killed a guy, you went, you attacked. Again, I don't know why we're running here. When you shot your proton at Jalis, right, you made him use his choreogrant turn. That cooldown is much longer than your proton torpedo. Look, like, his animation's just finishing, and your proton's almost back. So you should be following that target and just ready to lock that next missile as soon as that animation is done. Because that's how you're going to get that kill. Instead, we're going all the way around here. He's regenerating the full engines. I don't mind this, but now he's at full and he's not doing anything. Like, you really need to get in there. Again, we're going to use Quick Charge Shield here beforehand. And it's going to wear off way before we get in there. And he gets punished for this. So we're going to do some cool stuff here. So he fires a proton at this target. And while the proton's in the air, he switches to this target. Because he knows that this one is going to use an engine maneuver. And you can't shoot lasers at someone that's using an engine maneuver. It's very difficult. So he switches to this target and starts shooting him with lasers. However, so he shoots him with lasers, right? He kills the Seeker, and he switches back just about when the cooldown on his proton is about done. And this guy's engine maneuver immunity is almost done. So now he's going to be able to lock this proton on him. He should have started locking there. So that would have been someone to lock a proton on, but he took off. Now I'm going to rewind a little bit here. Alright, so we're on this target. Now we start taking heavy shots. Alright, so 1, 2. This would be when to use Quick Charge Shield, because you'd regenerate some of that shield. Quick Charge Shield, you don't have a whole lot of shields to work with, so you have to be able to use this cooldown in combat to keep up. Otherwise, you're very fragile. So he kind of takes these heavy shots, heavy shots, heavy shots. That was a long time to just sit there taking shots. Really needed, like, because you didn't have Quick Charge Shield, you needed to either, I don't know, turn around and barrel roll away, or just, go over the wall, or head for one of the tunnels, something like that. Alright, so next up, we're going to be switching to the gunship. So there's going to be a few things here with the gunship. One, again, he plays very timid. So we really need to be, gunships have the longest range in the game. So if no one is within your range, no one else can shoot you anyways. So if you're a gunship and you can't shoot anyone, then no one can shoot you. So you need to get into a position to shoot as quickly as possible. I don't mind stopping here to regenerate engine power before we go in, but he's clearly just looking for a target right now. I don't know if he doesn't know that you can use tab to target the closest thing, but I feel like as a gunship that's very important, because you want to hit tab to find the closest target to know if anything's within your range. Alright, so first thing, when you right click to go into the zoom mode with your railgun as a gunship, you're going to notice this little part down here says 62%. That's how far zoomed in you are. Okay? If you use the scroll wheel, you can actually zoom in further to 100%. This is not what we want. We want to scroll back on the scroll wheel to bring it to 0%, all the way zoomed out. What that does is it makes it much easier to maneuver around and change, like you have a bigger field of vision. Think about like if you're looking down the scope of like a rifle, and like the further zoomed in you are, you don't have as much field of vision, right? So that's what we want with the railgun. You want to zoom out immediately. The other thing is when you're charging a shot here. So he's charging a shot, right? And he wants to shoot this target. You want this target to be right in the middle of your firing arc. The closer the target is to the middle of the firing arc, the more accurate your shot. Because railgun, like all lasers and railguns, have a stat called tracking penalty. And tracking penalty means the further the target is from the middle of your firing arc, you lose percentages to hit. So you want them as close as possible. So with railguns, what you actually want to do is while you're charging your shot up here, you want to lead the target in the direction they're going. So we can see that he's going to the left. So we'd want to like push the rail past him, and then just as it finishes charging, we snap our cursor back on him, and then we fire. By taking this shot at the edge of the reticule here, you have a much less chance to hit. Now he got lucky. Not only did he hit the target, but he crit. So again here, he goes for another shot, but because he's at the edge of the firing arc, you can see the shot doesn't hit. I also noticed, Erannov, like this is for you specifically. After you fire your railgun shots, your cursor seems to like jump around wildly. I don't know if this is a nerves thing or if it's like your left click button or your mouse is too sensitive or anything like that. But I would definitely practice trying to fire a railgun shot and having the cursor not move afterwards. See if you can like steady your shot. Alright, so we're looking for targets. We can see that no one is within our range. Now, if we look at the mini-map here, someone actually is range. Someone's right below him. But because he's only using the cursor target with E, he's not... He doesn't realize that someone's right next to him. This is why tab targeting is so important with gunship, because he's looking for someone in range. There is someone, he just doesn't know it. So he keeps looking here, and then we finally move up. Like if you didn't know, see that target, and then suddenly he appears. All right, let's talk about this moment. So we're tracking a shot. We haven't fired the shot yet, but right here, we get shot by a railgun. Now, the first thing you do is you use a distortion field, because it only takes 2 railgun shots for you to die when you're playing a gunship. So this other gunship is charging the next shot. If he lands this, we're just going to die. So we need to use distortion field to not let this happen. Most of the time, you abandon your shot and you just cut and run. You just retreat. I don't mind him trying this shot because it's so close to being finished and the target is super low. He'll probably get a kill for this. So you could end up trading, right? You trade for one at this point. However, I always prefer living over trading 1 for 1. So I would cut and run. So he takes the shot doesn't pop distortion field, actually gets shot again, but the other gunship must have not charged fully or something like that because he didn't take very much damage. And he does actually get away here, but he never used distortion field. This to me was a big mistake, and he didn't get punished for it. Yeah, should definitely be using Hydro Spanner right now. Get that cooldown running. There we go. Uses it. So it's interesting because he was using Quick Charge Shield too much earlier, and now he's not using Distortion Field enough. Alright, so now we're looking for another target. We're really low, so I get trying to play like a more patient game here. Yeah, do you see how someone went over that wall and then came through this tunnel, and suddenly all these targets are trying to come through this tunnel? That's what I'm talking about. Like, going over to the enemies and like kind of taunting them to come over is helpful to your team, especially to your teammate gunships, because they're just looking for a shot. Right. See how we're trying to track targets here, and because we're zoomed in, it's much harder to do. So we're really low, and someone is coming over to shoot at us. We need to be really careful here. You almost need to preemptively distortion field if you want to take a shot at this guy. So he goes to take a shot, he gets a shot, but he uses distortion field a little bit too late. So you could see he finally uses it there, but he's taken all of his shields. So the guy only needs to land a single shot at this point. And because he's firing so many lasers, he gets that shot in. But yeah, should definitely be prioritizing retreating here over getting that shot in because you're so low, especially because it wasn't going to get a kill. Alright, so we're lining up the shot. So again, try to center that railgun shot. Like when he's lining up this shot, he's setting up to shoot him here. We should be pushing the screen so that this part is here. We want this part of the screen to be over here so that when this guy flies over here, we shoot him right there. That'll give us the highest chance to hit. So he fires, he misses, and then he tries to get him again and misses again. And again, these are deflection shots. These have high tracking penalty. This is why he's missing. So that was a pretty good shot, but now we have no one near us. It's time to push in. We're at full health. We have some engine power. There we go. We have a target. Again, this would have been a very easy shot to put in the middle of our arc. But he shoots it there, and he gets lucky this time. But you don't always get lucky, as we saw earlier. So again, push, push, push. And now he's in the middle of the screen. Right? There was that little bit of jitteriness. Alright. Let's go find another target. Again, like, we should be hitting tab, trying to find the closest target, and just going to it. You're at full health, you have all your cooldowns. This is when you should be getting aggressive. The other thing he could be doing is going next to objects and then strafing in and out, because you can strafe while you're charging a railgun. See, there's so much dead time here. Should be trying to get a shot on someone. And when you're looking at so many targets like this, it's so hard to pick out the one that's in range by like checking every one. This is why tab really helps. And if you keep cycling tab, it'll go from like the closest to next closest to next closest, and you can kind of just see what lights up. Spend a lot of time just sitting here, essentially doing nothing, because we're just not getting in range. Yeah, push forward. There you go. Alright, so again, this target had no idea we were going after him. This was the time to put it in the middle of the firing arc. I mean, you should try to put them all. So, not only that, he actually pushes the screen down to the right and then brings the cursor back up to take this second shot. Now, he got lucky because the ship actually moved towards the middle of his arc, and he hit both shots. But yeah, that was great shooting. He never switches railguns, by the way. You should definitely make use of 2 railguns, because the railguns, after you fire them, let's just back up to when he gets this kill here. So when you fire the first railgun, you can see there's actually a cooldown. It's only 1 second on Slug, but when you switch to a different railgun, there's no cooldown. So if you fire an ion shot, for example, at their shields and then switch to Slug, you can start charging immediately, and you don't have to worry about that cooldown. So you fire the 2 railguns a little bit quicker. This would be a great target to go for, because it's really low. There's this one over here. And again, he's having trouble tracking all these targets because he's not zoomed out. So every time you press right click, you want to train yourself to hit that scroll wheel out. That's a good shot. It's a really good snapshot. But again, like, this is exactly what you don't want to do. He gets so lucky here by hitting this shot. Like, max arc railgun shots are so unlikely to hit. And he's having trouble tracking this because he's not zoomed out. So zoom out and then try to get them in the middle. Yeah, distortion field here. Like, you start seeing railguns fire at you like this. So there you go. We saw that rail. Instantly hammer that distortion field button. We want to get that evasion going. So he gets shot again. Distortion field. We need to use distortion field. So he saves distortion field to stop the missile lock on. But we really needed it. Like, the evasion part of distortion field is so important. So now no one's after us again. The closest thing is 22,000. Our distortion field cooldown is back up. We need to get in range. We need to start dealing damage again. Go after that one of those gunships. Just boost 5k here. Start shooting at the gunship. Because if you shoot at them, they have to move and they're no longer shooting your teammates. So now he's looking at you. So now, if another gunship is looking at you, you can go to like an object and then charge your railgun and then strafe up, fire, and then strafe back down, basically. Or you could stay out of his range as he's doing here, but he doesn't have anything else to shoot at. He's spending so much time just watching the enemy team decimate his team. I like this. Go get in range again. Get them in the middle of your firing arc. He gets lucky and hits both those shots, even though he doesn't set that up, but yeah, this he could stand to boost all the way up to this wall here, because things were just getting in and out of the end of his range. See, like, just this is good. This is going to be a good shot. That was almost center. That's exactly what you want to do. Same idea here. See how they're just barely at the edge of his range. If he was just a little bit closer, he'd be all set. Yeah, definitely get damage overcharge. Now, that's one of the things I didn't talk about in this video. Erannov doesn't control damage overcharge at all. It's difficult, right? You want to look at the maps, you want to watch the mini map and get the damage overcharges as they come up. But not everyone wants to get that in depth into playing of like controlling the damage overcharges. But it's a big part of deathmatch. If you want to get really good at deathmatch, that's one of the parts you're going to have to get into. But yeah, anyways. Again here, so lucky with the outside arc shots. Like it's these are like 40% chance to hit shots type idea. Oh god, I just want him to boost over there and go get that kill. He just needs a little shot on that one. That guy, you could easily go over here and not be in line of sight of anything and go shoot at this guy. Yeah, I feel like when he presses left click and when he releases left click, there's like a jitter, right? And I maybe your sensitivity is too high, or maybe your left click is too hard to press down, like it needs to be softer or something like that. Maybe you're pressing the button too hard. Maybe you just need to chill out and whatnot, but try to eliminate that jitter. I feel like that's going to help your aiming a lot. All right, so that's the end of the game. We can take a look at the scoreboard here. He goes 7-8-2 with 48,000 damage. This is a good score line. He did great for his team. He went +5, but you also saw there was so much opportunity for him to put more pressure on the enemy team. And yes, he had the lowest deaths like tied for the lowest death in the entire game, but a little bit too timid of playing. You need to put pressure on the enemy team. You need to make them make mistakes. You can't just play passive all game because your teammates aren't going to do that. And that's like you can only play that timid if you're playing in these like custom games where your whole team's on voice chat and you're all coordinating and whatnot. But yeah, for just regular games, you need to get a little bit more aggressive than that. So I hope that helped everyone. This one ended up quite a bit longer than the last one, but everyone kept saying that they wanted more analysis. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.